Welcome to Coin Price. In today's video, we take a deep look into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket change or an old coin jar, and yet many people overlook its hidden value. We're talking about the 1949 wheat penny in worn condition. Yes, that small brown, circulated coin that looks like it's seen better days could actually carry more history and value than you think. Whether you are a long-time coin collector or a beginner curious about coins from the past, this video will give you everything you need to know about the 1949 wheat penny, especially if the one you have is in worn, circulated condition. Let's start with a bit of historical background. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was a big deal at the time. For the first time in American coinage history, a U.S. president appeared on a circulating coin. The design was created by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, or the front side, there's a profile of Abraham Lincoln, and on the reverse, two wheat stalks, which symbolize prosperity and productivity. This is why collectors call it the wheat penny. The wheat design remained on the Lincoln cent from 1909 until 1958. Every penny during that time has a story, but the 1949 issue stands out due to its post-war context, minting figures, and collector appeal. The year 1949 was just a few years after the end of World War II. America was going through a period of change and rebuilding. The war had shifted industries, families, and even coin production. During the war years, the U.S. Mint experimented with different metals for coinage, especially for nickels and pennies. By 1949, however, production returned to a more normal pace, and the wheat penny resumed its regular copper alloy composition. This makes 1949 coins part of that classic copper era. 3 U.S. mints struck the 1949 penny: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your 1949 penny does not have a mint mark below the date on the obverse, that means it was minted in Philadelphia. These are the most common of the three. The Denver Mint placed a small D below the year, and the San Francisco Mint used an S. In total, over 435 million wheat pennies were struck in 1949. Specifically, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 217 million, Denver produced about 153 million, and San Francisco minted just over 64 million. As you can tell, the San Francisco pennies were the least in number, which often gives them slightly higher collector value, especially in higher grades. But what about the worn ones? That's the main focus of this video. What if your 1949 wheat penny is in worn, circulated condition? Maybe the details of Lincoln's coat are flat, the wheat stalks on the back are faint, or the surfaces are dark and dull. Is it still worth anything? The short answer is yes, but it depends. In numismatics, the study and collection of coins condition plays a huge role in determining value. Coins are graded based on their physical state. A coin in mint state, meaning it was never used and still looks brand new, can fetch a high price. On the other hand, a coin in worn condition is usually graded as good G, very good VG, or fine F, depending on the level of wear. Most 1949 wheat pennies that are still floating around today are in good or very good condition. That means they've been handled by hundreds or even thousands of people over the decades. They've gone from pocket to pocket, from hand to hand, through grocery stores, gas stations, and banks. All of that activity wears down the details of the coin, but it doesn't erase its history, and sometimes it doesn't erase its value either. Let's talk numbers. If you walk into a coin shop today with a 1949 wheat penny in worn condition, chances are its base value will range from about 2 cents to 20 cents. Why more than 1 cent? Because copper pennies, especially older ones, are often worth more than face value due to the metal content and collector demand. Coin dealers usually buy them in bulk. A roll of 50 worn wheat pennies, including common dates like 1949, might sell for $1 to $3, depending on the buyer and the condition mix. That breaks down to about 4 to 6 cents per coin, even if they're worn. Individual worn 1949 pennies with clear date and mint mark can go for 10 cents or slightly more, especially if they come from the San Francisco Mint. Now, there are exceptions. Some worn 1949 wheat pennies have been sold for more due to specific features. For example, if your worn 1949 penny has a die crack, a double die error, or off-center strike, then its value could increase significantly. Even in worn condition, error coins are highly collectible. A double die, where the text or design elements appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during minting, can push the value of a worn penny into the range of $5 to $50 or more, depending on the visibility of the error. Similarly, if your coin has an off-center strike, meaning it wasn't perfectly aligned when the design was stamped, collectors may pay extra for that unique flaw. It's important to understand that many 1949 wheat pennies in worn condition look similar at first glance, but careful observation using a magnifying glass can reveal subtle errors or mint variations that may increase the value. If you're serious about coin collecting or reselling, it's worth learning how to detect these small differences. Another factor that affects the value of your 1949 penny is demand. Coin collecting trends shift over time. Some years, certain dates or types of coins become more popular due to anniversaries, media exposure, or influencer interest. The 1949 wheat penny isn't at the top of the rare coin list, but it's respected among Lincoln cent collectors because it sits in the middle of the series, bridging the World War era coins and the modern Lincoln cent we know today. Let's say you're not a collector, but still curious. You found a 1949 wheat penny in worn condition and you're wondering, should I keep it? The answer is yes. Especially if you enjoy saving pieces of history. Even a single worn penny can become the start of a coin collection. It can also serve as a conversation piece or a small treasure to pass down. Some families save wheat pennies as part of a tradition, handing them to children and grandchildren as a link to the past. Even though it may only be worth a few cents in worn condition, the 1949 wheat penny carries something that cannot be measured in dollars' historical value. It's a physical reminder of post-war America, of the hard-working hands that used it, of the businesses it passed through, and of the mint workers who struck it. Every scratch and worn detail on your penny has a story. What about selling it? If you want to sell a worn 1949 wheat penny, your best option is to include it in a bulk lot. Coin dealers or online buyers on auction platforms like eBay or Etsy often look for mixed wheat penny rolls. If you list one worn penny individually, it may not attract much attention, but if you offer 20 or 50 wheat pennies, even in worn condition, you can get decent returns. Sellers often list rolls of common date wheat pennies for $10 to $15, especially if they include dates from the 1940s and 1950 seconds. That's about 20 to 30 cents per coin, depending on the market and buyer interest. In other cases, you may want to consider trading your coin or donating it to a local coin club if you're more interested in sharing history than making money. If you're buying a 1949 wheat penny, especially in worn condition, make sure you know what you're getting. Check for authenticity. While counterfeits are not common for low-value coins, there are some altered coins out there. For example, a penny with an added mint mark or a manipulated date to resemble a rare variety. Use a reputable dealer or platform and look for coins that have not been overly cleaned or damaged. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value. Even if a penny is dark and worn, it's better to leave it in its natural state than to scrub or polish it. Let's also touch on grading. If you're curious about the grade of your worn 1949 penny, at the details. In good G condition, Lincoln's portrait is visible but flat. The motto, "In God We Trust," may be faint, and the wheat stalks are nearly smooth. In very good VG condition, Lincoln's outline is stronger, and you can see more facial features. The wheat lines on the reverse may show some definition. In fine F condition, you'll notice even more detail, though the coin will still look heavily used. Professional grading services like PCGs and NGC can assign official grades, but this is usually done for higher value coins. For worn 1949 pennies, self-grading using visual guides is usually enough. To conclude, the 1949 wheat penny in worn condition might not make you rich, but it holds significant historical and educational value. It tells a story of post-war America, of copper coinage, of the U.S. Mint's recovery from wartime efforts, and of countless individuals who carried it over decades. It's a small piece of the American timeline. Its monetary value may only be a few cents, but its sentimental and historical worth can be much higher depending on how you view it.